resume, a college application, and shared with participating clubs around the world. Over 2 billion young people empowered and encouraged to share their ideas. Imagine that future and bring TED-Ed clubs to your community today.
The TED Club is all about expressing your original ideas, sharing your interests, thinking critically, training in public speaking, learning how to feel confident, and being part of a global learning community. It is an educational initiative whose aim is to make students' voices heard and support innovation in English language teaching. TED Club is designed to promote and celebrate the original ideas of students. Through a number of activity-based sessions, participants are encouraged to explore concepts that will spark their curiosity. They will create original content, which they will finally present in the form of TED-style talks in front of an audience. Admittedly, this is an invaluable experience as it offers students the opportunity to be part of a global learning community, to develop their communication, leadership, and public speaking skills. Now, let's hear from our students.
My grandma once told me that beauty is something within me, something I need to work on, that I should learn how to love and embrace. Of course, beauty can be found everywhere. It's in everything that surrounds us, in every place, in every conversation, but mostly in every soul. Plato said that the contemplation of beauty causes the soul to grow wings. Beauty is supposed to be something pure, something spiritual, something delicate. But now beauty is just another way to divide people, create hierarchies, make money, exploit other people's insecurities. And here's where beauty standards come in. Hi, I'm Giota Pateli, and I'm here to talk about beauty standards. For centuries, the idea of beauty has been constantly changing. In ancient Egypt, for example, the beauty standard was being very skinny, having black hair, black eyes, and very thin facial features. In the 50s, the hourglass body shape was trending. In the 2000s, however, you need to be extremely skinny to be considered attractive. Nowadays, the beauty standard is having big breasts, a really slim waist, and a substantially sized body. Pretty much you need to be a Bratz. You need to be white, hairless, and have a flat stomach. Society is constantly pressuring us into denying our true beauty. Our birthmarks, body shape, hair, acne, or even our stretch marks have become reasons for us to feel embarrassed and ashamed, rather than unique. We cannot ignore the fact that beauty standards are extremely racist. Black people, for instance, were once slaves for the color of the skin and their characteristics, and are still, to this day, being oppressed and killed for the same reasons. Of course, if the Kardashians get lip fillers and tan and dreadlocks, it becomes a trend. And all of a sudden, those characteristics are desirable and praiseworthy. So, not only black people have been oppressed since the colonization, they're now being robbed of the culture, which is only acceptable when embraced by white people. Our generation is often exposed to unrealistic beauty standards through the media. Edited images and enriched beauty filters are making us insecure about our true appearances and making us feel self-conscious and uncertain of ourselves. We struggle to achieve the perfect body by any means, following our unreasonable diets, exhausting workouts, and changing our entire physical appearance through plastic surgeries. It's in our nature to compare ourselves to others, and social media only makes things worse. We compare models, influencers, and celebrities to our not fully developed selves, having high expectations and pressuring ourselves to look like them. I strongly believe that the source of our problem is the corrupted system. Our society is built on homophobic, misogynistic, racist, and patriarchal ideas that have been ruling our world since forever. So how does it affect beauty standards? Well, every girl, every woman, and everyone with a female body is most likely looking at themselves through the male gaze. This is called internal male gaze. All beauty standards are based on the preference of heterosexual men in power. Those powerful individuals exploit beauty constructs and profit from them. Let's talk about double standards in beauty. Men and women are viewed differently. According to Susan Sontag, the perception of an attractive male is very wide. They can have gray hair and be sexy. They can have no hair and be sexy. They can have facial hair and it's not a bad thing. They can have wrinkles and be even more attractive. This happens because our society allows men to look real, to look humane, to grow old. On the other hand, there is only a single standard of beauty for women, which dictates that they must go on looking young. Every wrinkle, every line, every gray hair is a defeat. So as far as men and people with male bodies are concerned, of course there are some standards that want them to be masculine and dress in a manly manner, but the bar is definitely lower, and that's why we focus on the female body. Now, enough about the problems of our society. We all know how corrupted our system is. Let's fight it. Let's try to change it. We have already seen some progress happening, but it's not enough. We need to stop compromising with the bare minimum. How are we going to do that? It only takes a few steps. We need to educate ourselves, do some research, communicate, support non-profit organizations, if that's possible, of course. And last but not least, we need to acknowledge our privileges. And to all those people out there struggling with an idea you need to follow, remember that everyone is unique and it's not necessary to fit in or to adopt today's social beliefs. Let's actually focus on the important things, so we, as humans, can celebrate our differences and for once, respect one another. Thank you for your time.
The right to freedom of movement, the right to equal pay, the right to fair, unbiased treatment. These are some of the basic human rights we are entitled to, both men and women. Yet every single day, women continue to be let down by society and deprived of the rights all human beings are supposedly entitled to. How is this possible? Hello, my name is Maria-Thekla Michail, and I'm here to talk to you about feminism. One day when I was at school practicing for a performance, my teacher called out all the boys in the class to help lift some chairs. I wanted to help, so I began lifting some chairs too. But then there was this classmate of mine that yelled at me and said, "Oh, little girl, this is a work for guys. Go do something girly." I was frustrated at the time because all I wanted to do was help. But then I thought to myself, why can't girls do the same stuff as boys? When I grew older, I realized that the same could be said for rights. Why are women supposed to be in the kitchen? Why is it that they can't run for president or go to the moon? Women's suffrage movement started at the late 1800s. Women's liberation movement in the 1960s. Black feminist movement in the 1970s. The hashtag #MeToo movement last year that has continued to gain momentum since now. Beyond this, global and local women's movements are proliferating, smaller and larger in scale, but that continue to exist, relentlessly fighting battles for all women's rights. Gender inequality is a universal issue. Women everywhere in the world want equal pay.
Women everywhere in the world want to control and decide what to do with their own bodies. Around the world, women still have less access to education than men. In fact, 1/4 of young women between the age of 15 and 24 will not finish primary school. Only 6 countries in the world give women the same legal work rights as men. Most societies give women 3/4 of the rights of men. One of the causes for gender inequality within employment is the division of jobs. In most societies, there is an inherent belief that men are simply better equipped to handle certain jobs. Most of the time, these are the jobs that pay the best. Despite progress in this area over the years, women are still grossly underrepresented in government and the political process. Women living in developing parts of the world, such as Africa, are trapped in war zones where they are stripped of their freedom and left to the power of combatants. Conflict zones in Africa are filled with women being beaten, raped, and starved. As a result of the inequalities in their society, women in India can face issues such as demeaning or negative treatment from their spouses, forceful marriages from a really young age, or even being totally denied an education. It is this lack of education that creates a domino effect in both the social and economic aspects of these women's lives. Child marriage. Almost 750 million women and girls alive today will be married before their 18th birthday. Those who suffer from child marriage often experience early pregnancy, which is the key factor in the premature end of their education. As mothers and wives, girls become socially isolated and are at an increased risk of domestic violence. Child marriage is one of the most devastating examples of gender inequality, as it limits women's opportunities and their ability to reach their full individual potential. However, even in Europe, where important steps are taken to ensure gender equality, they still remain insufficient. There is still a lot to be done. Women domestically raped, insulted in the workplace, abused, victims of bias and prejudice are European and continue their fights. Feminism can often be confused with the demand of more rights in favor of women. Feminism is not thinking women are superior to men. Men and women are equal and should be treated as such. Feminism has nothing to do with white women or their financial situation. On the contrary, it wants to emphasize that they're all equal and that they must all have the same opportunities. Feminism is not only standing up and fighting for white women. If you don't stand with the LGBTQ+ community or people of color, you're not a feminist. It is not necessary to be female in order to support women. There are men who are defenders of gender equality and fought for something that does not really affect them, like Prince Harry. For too long, women have not been heard or believed. 1 out of every 5 women will be sexually abused before reaching the age of 18. The basic human right of being able as a woman to participate in the choices of your future and that of your country. The involvement of your voice that allows you to be part of the very world that you're part of. Me Too must become We Too, since we're all in this together. As Simone de Beauvoir once said, one is not born, but rather becomes a woman. When magnificent women and men alive fight hard to make sure that gender equality is verified, we will live in a society when nobody has to say, Me Too again. It is said that girls with dreams become women with vision. May we empower each other to carry out such vision. Because it isn't enough to simply talk about equality. One must believe in it. And it isn't enough to simply believe in it. One must work at it. Let us work at it together, starting now. Thank you.
We all tremble at the sudden thought of coronavirus. But why don't we think of coronavirus differently? Everyone has been utterly concerned about the deaths of so many people, but this pandemic has also affected people's psychology. Personally, I'm known for my ability to concentrate and stay focused, which I partially lost during the quarantine. You see, being totally exhausted by this whole situation, it became much more difficult for me to keep trying to achieve my goals, whether it involved studying or simply going for a round at the park near my house. However, sticking to my habits was a thing that kept me from losing myself. I refused to give up and just lie in my bed the whole day, doing absolutely nothing, just because a virus suddenly appeared and decided to destroy and ruin our lives. Instead, I decided to take care of myself and continue to be productive as I normally am as a person.
So in my case, I experienced a lot of ups and a lot of downs, but fortunately not to the point of depression. At first, I said to myself, this cannot be such a hard thing to do. I thought of quarantine as an opportunity of having more time to sleep. And it was not only that, I would now be given the chance to escape from the ordinary and to relax as much as I wanted. But as the time went by, things get a little bit rough. I started thinking, why can't I do the simplest things that I could do before quarantine? I thought it was totally unfair. For example, I couldn't see my friends, which was devastating. I couldn't even play volleyball, which cost me a lot because I felt a part of me was disappearing. And I didn't have the chance to go for a lot of walks as a normal person my age would do. As far as the school is concerned, I had a lot of pressure on me. Just because things got tough regarding tests and homework, 8 hours of being in front of a computer, the preparation for our French diplomas, and the evaluation at the end of the school year. All these things contributed to more stress and frustration. So, as my partner mentioned, I also tried to avoid losing myself by working out and keeping in contact with close friends, just because I didn't want to be affected by this difficult situation.
So, if you want to define the coronaviruses, we would say that they consist of a group of related RNA viruses that can cause diseases to mammals and birds. More specifically, they might provoke respiratory tract infections or just less severe illnesses, such as the common cold. Here we can see a picture of coronavirus on the right. So let's see the psychological effects of COVID on people. First of all, regarding teenagers, a lack of motivation has emerged among them in trying to pursue their goals. There has also been a significant impact on their relationships and their socialization, which of course is logical given the fact that they were forced to stay in their houses. However, most teens refuse to accept the help of specialists who aim to help them. They don't accept their help mainly because they consider it useless. Besides, they might be stigmatized or worse, receive negative criticism from their peers.
So, as regards adults, quarantine has influenced their psychology and has led them to frustration, tiredness, and feelings of being overwhelmed. As a result of working from home, which was obligatory given the circumstances, a lot of adult workers found themselves in dead ends. Isolation, no interaction with colleagues, negative comments from their boss, and distracted by family life. All these led to their having psychological troubles or even being fired.
So let's have a look at the actual effects of COVID. According to research, half of the people report no sleep difficulties, nightmares, or experiencing flashbacks. However, a great number of people have more stress than before. Fortunately, there have been almost no suicide attempts. Now, this is very positive data because it means that although it was really hard during the quarantine, people handled it correctly and did not reach the level of self-harming.
So, our presentation leads us to the following question. How can we deal with distressing situations? One of the things we can do is remind ourselves of the things we have succeeded in and of who we are. Secondly, it's absolutely necessary that we fight for the things that contribute to our happiness. These things can be family, friends, or activities. We also have to try to always look at things from an optimistic perspective. In other words, we should seize every opportunity to discover ourselves reconsider the values in life, and learn how to be grateful for the things we already have and not take them for granted. Lastly, it's essential that we cherish the people we love and who make us happy.
So, to sum up, there are two things we have to keep in mind. First of all, the fact that wherever there is bad, there is always good nearby. That's nature's way. Proof of this code is the quarantine. Although it has had a significantly negative impact on our psychology, it has taught us to stay strong and have faith. So we can all agree with this sentence. Everything happens for a reason. Thank you.